Hi, everybody, and welcome to Selling Scottsdale with the Connie Cola Group. I'm Associate Broker Connie Cola.
And I am attorney and realtor Jeff Hernandez. And today we've got a lot coming up on the show.
We do. The market has changed dramatically in the last 3 months, so we're going to take a look at where we are today. And also, in this week's Ask the Attorney segment, you tackle a pretty stressful topic as well.
Yeah, I'll be discussing the 3 most common and costly mistakes that homeowners make when they're going through a divorce, so stick around for that.
Okay. And if you're in the market for a new home, we've got 3 beautiful homes that we're excited to share with you. And then it's date night. So we've got a super fun place in Scottsdale that we want to take you to. And here's a hint. All aboard! Toot toot!
Okay, time for this month's market report.
This week is really critical because we really have a good idea now of just how much the market has shifted in the past 14 weeks. So let's take a look at what that means for you. And I've got 5 key points here that I want to share with you that I think are really important and will help kind of get your head wrapped around what's happening. So the first is that the seller's market is no longer a frenzy. So we're not, sending rockets to Mars anymore. We're still in a very hot market, but we're not in a chaotic, crazy, anything goes market. Okay, so what does that mean? Well, after 2 years, it means that for many people, it's probably starting to feel a little more normal. And that's good news for buyers who actually have an opportunity now to get into a house, spend a little bit of time, have some deep thought before they have to throw an offer out there. It's a good sign right now that things are not quite so crazy. Okay, second thing is the inventory is changing. So there's been a significant surge in the number of new listings on the market in the last 2 months. We're up about 12% from May to June of last year when you compare the two. And I think sellers really were fearing that, wow, we're at the top of the market now. I better get this house on the market, try to capitalize on what I can, and sell this thing before the market turns. And so we've seen an increase. Now, we're still way behind on where we should be for this time of the year in a normal market. So it is still a seller's market. We're still low on inventory, but a couple things are changing because we're seeing more inventory and because buyers are taking a little bit longer now with those higher interest rates to think about that increased price of a purchase. So the average days on market, that's my third point, are actually becoming longer. So it was where maybe in March, April, May, we had about 8 days on market. Now in June, we started to see 12 days on market. Now, when you figure we only had 8 to begin with, to go to 12, that's another third. That's a pretty long amount of time. It shows that the market is really starting to change. Not back to the old days where maybe we were on the market for 30 days, but 12 is pretty significant. Again, it's giving time for people to get into a house, take a look at it again, put together a decent offer, and then submit it and not feel like it's so crazy you have to throw everything in the kitchen sink into your offer. Okay, so the fourth thing that's happening are price increases and price decreases. Okay, Connie, so how do we have both of those? What does that really mean? Well, in the last 2 months, we've seen a huge spike in listing price reductions. So while the market has started to change as of really kind of the middle of March when our first interest rate hike started, things started to slow down, and all those homes that were on the market at that time at a crazy price, right? They realized, okay, it's taking longer for things to sell, more homes are coming on the market, the interest rates are going higher, and people are becoming more cautious in their purchase. So that crazy to the moon price that we put on the house maybe isn't going to make it happen. So those sale prices, original list prices have come down to a more reasonable list price. Now, in the meantime, people who weren't on the market and haven't had to come down are starting to calculate what's the price that I really should price my home at to be at the top of the market, but not overshoot, and get my home sold for the highest price in the least amount of time so I hold value. And those people are starting to take a look at what's happening in the market in their neighborhood. So maybe their neighbor sold for $950, they're going to put it on at $960, $975, and it does sell there because that's a reasonable price span. So we're not seeing prices go backwards. We're seeing prices continue to move forward, but slower than they were before and in a more realistic fashion. Does that make sense? Every single day, we challenge each other to come to the table with our A game, and we do. And our clients see that. They understand it's a whole different experience when you hire us to sell your home or to buy a home than it is. In fact, a lot of times we'll hear that has never been that easy or it's never been this fun.
Everybody on the team has experience and was successful in prior careers, and they bring that drive and success and motivation and enthusiasm to the team as realtors, and I really appreciate that. And we all bounce ideas off each other regularly. We communicate very openly and honestly, and we work things out together constantly.
The diverse experience of our team assists our clients, whether it be working with Jeff, who has a legal background, working with Connie, who has extensive experience in the real estate market here, working with Maria, who brings amazing talent to the marketing, and then working with me. I'm very customer-centered, always focused on what your needs are first.
So are we still seeing homes go for over asking? And the answer is yes, when the house is priced at a reasonable market value, and even the top and maybe a little bit more than the top, as I just noted, okay? So in April, 57% of the time, we did see homes sell for over asking. Now in June, that's dropped down to 47% of the time, so it's dropped 10% in the last 2 months. And I expect that number will continue to soften just a little bit as the market starts to soften. However, think about this. Almost 50% of the time, right, 47% of the time, we are still seeing homes selling for over asking. So again, not a frenzy for the seller's market right now, a hot market for the seller's market. Still seeing small increases in price, and we're still seeing almost 50% of the time where a home will sell for over asking. Okay. The fifth thing that I like to look at is the Cromford Market Index. Now I know that you have seen me talk about this before. So 100 and up is the seller's market, 100 below the buyer's market. So at the height of the market, we were at 515. That was huge. And we've slowly started coming back. So Phoenix right now is at 210. Not 100, not a balanced market, 210. So we're still a hot seller's market, but not a crazy frenzy of a seller's market, okay? But it is the lowest that it's been since June of 2020. So we're starting to cool off. That's another sign. Buckeye, I hate to tell you, you are the lowest at 131, the closest to a balanced market of anybody in the valley right now. And that is you're the closest, right, at this point. But Buckeye, oh my gosh, look how much is going to come with what's happening out there in the West Valley. So hang on, you're still in a seller's market. It all still looks good. Okay, Fountain Hills, congratulations. You are the hottest market in the valley right now, and you are at 306. So you're doing really, really well. However, you're still down more than 25% from last month. So everybody is starting to cool. Scottsdale, you're at 280. That's down 33% from last month. In fact, the entire market right now is down at least 25%, closer to that 100%, the balanced market, than they were just last month. So again, we're really starting to see things cool off. The biggest question people ask is, well, are the prices going to go backwards, right? Are we going to start to see prices reduced, come down, just off those crazy high prices that we already had on the market, and from agents who maybe are not telling you realistically, where your house can sell? But no, I think we're going to continue to see small incremental prices to go up because we still have such a huge demand here in the market. People are coming into the valley like crazy, and because we still don't have a lot of inventory. Okay. Let's talk about mortgage applications. So after several weeks of significant less demand, right, less people taking out a mortgage as they kind of cool their jets just a little bit to decide, okay, what's going to happen here with the interest rates? Are they going to go up again? Are they going to go up again? People, I think, are starting to get used to the fact that You're not going to get a 3% or a 4% or 4.5% or maybe even a 5% or 5.5% mortgage at this point. You got to jump in. It's like double Dutch rope, right? The house prices are slowly going up, not as fast as they were, but interest rates are really going up. And the cost of borrowing that money is making the price of the home you can afford less. For the sellers, know that the buyers are starting to get a little bit of their power back here, right? As we get closer to 100, becoming a little bit more of a balanced market, we need a lot more inventory on the market. We don't have a lot out there, so your demand for price is still high. But the buyers aren't going to have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at us anymore. So if they put a really good offer in on price and it seems to be fairly clean, and yes, they want a home inspection, but maybe they're not going to ask for a lot of repairs, we have to kind of meet in the middle on a few of those things. Still, you're in the driver's seat, sellers, but buyers are starting to get a little bit more power back. Okay? All right, that's it for now. I'm Connie Cola, your Scottsdale realtor with the Connie Cola Group. And remember, your home is one of your largest assets, and who you work with matters. So if you have any questions about this ever-shifting market, now is the time to reach out and ask some questions. I am always here for you. You can call me or email me anytime. Okay, well, hopefully that gave you a really good recap of where we are in the market today.
Speaking of inventory, if you're a buyer and you're having a tough time finding that perfect home for yourself, we have 3 new listings that we want to show you. One's in Fountain Hills, one's in Scottsdale Mountain, and the other is in DC Ranch. Let's take a look.
Okay, if you're interested in any of these homes, or you just want a home valuation to see what the value of your home is in this market, give us a call or reach out anytime. We're always here for you. Okay, time for a segment we love to call Ask the Attorney.
My favorite segment, by the way. Today I'm talking about 3 common and costly real estate mistakes people make when they're going through a divorce. Take a look.
Do you have questions about real estate contracts, legal jargon, or real estate transactions in general? Welcome to Ask the Attorney. I'm Jeff Hernandez, licensed attorney and realtor with the Connie Cola Group at RETSI, a Forbes Global Properties partner. Every week I'll be answering questions from the perspective of a licensed attorney and a realtor relating to real estate transactions to help you along the way and to hopefully assist you in avoiding potential pitfalls in any real estate deals. Let's take a look at today's question.
Okay, today's question of the day is, what are the common mistakes people make with respect to their credit and their secured mortgages when they're going through a divorce? And today I have a special guest, Jennifer Lamp with Radiant Financial Group. She's going to be talking about the 3 common mistakes people make when they're going through a divorce as it affects their credit and as it affects their secured mortgage. Welcome, Jen.
Hello, how are you, Jeff?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Great, I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for coming back on. The last time we talked about what people do when they engage a lender, or what they should be doing, engaging a lender prior to going through mediation when they're in a divorce. Let's talk today about the common mistakes people make with respect to their secured mortgage, their home, and creditworthiness. What are the 3 common mistakes people make? Let's start with the first one. What's the first one you see people make?
Perfect. Well, it's a great question. I think that there's a theme that is around all three of the mistakes that I'm going to point out today, and that's making an assumption. So with the first mistake that I see quite often is a homeowner who's going through a divorce just assuming that they'll qualify for a new mortgage. You know, they might already own and they went through the lending process at one point, but they just make an assumption that, hey, now where I'm at today, I'm gonna qualify. And they don't go through the steps needed to guarantee and to make sure that the strategy's in place and everything they need to do to either maintain the property that they're in right now post-divorce, or to purchase a new property post-divorce, that the current guidelines and stuff that they'll qualify. So the most important thing is getting with the lender pre-mediation and making sure that they go through the steps to make sure that they qualify with their income, their assets, their credit, and everything else that's involved, and using that lender to negotiate and help negotiate that process.
Well, give us an example of what can happen if somebody doesn't do that. I mean, if they go through the divorce and they don't take care of these things prior to mediation or getting a final decree, what can happen?
Well, what I've seen a lot of times is I have clients come to me after the divorce is complete. Well, at that time, they've negotiated their income, whether it's alimony or child support. They set up certain time structures and time limits within the divorce. For instance, maybe the wife is going to maintain the property post-divorce, and she's got 12 months to get the husband off of the loan, and that usually is a refinance. So she comes to me and she doesn't realize that there are certain guidelines regarding alimony and child support, how long you need to have received child support and alimony, how long the continuance that you have to have it, and all of that is structured pre-mediation and upfront. And so if you don't know what those guidelines are and you're not talking to a lender to determine, you might not structure that income in a way that we can use it as income when you go to do a loan.
Okay, so the bottom line is get together with somebody like yourself prior to finalizing the divorce so they can map out what they need to utilize in terms of alimony, child support, etc., for future income calculation purposes in order to qualify for a loan. Is that a fair statement?
Absolutely. Yes. And then a lot of times, a spouse has been a stay-at-home mom or dad, and they're going to go back to work because now they're divorced. Well, there's time, you usually with most loans, you need to have a 2-year history in the same line of work. Now, there's some ways to get around that, but it really does take talking with someone, creating the strategy, and making sure everything is in line so that you know that you're going to be able to qualify post-divorce.
Okay, very good. What's the second common mistake you see people making in the divorce process?
I would say it relates to making some assumptions with credit. A lot of times people think, I'm going through a divorce, I just need to divide. And once there's a way and a strategy of how you need to separate your credit accounts so that you don't affect your credit negatively. And
give us an example. Tell us what you mean by that.
Yeah, so recently I had a client contact me, and she said, after this phone call, I'm going to cancel all my revolving credit cards that I have on my credit that are tied with my husband. And, when you cancel out revolving accounts that have a long history, you're going to see a huge drop in your credit score from that. So, and that was her entire credit profile aside from their joint home and an auto. So when you eliminate 3/4 of the accounts and the trade lines on your credit report, what do you think it's going to do? So getting with a lender that can help figure out a strategy of whether should the spouse just take one name off of the credit accounts, should you cancel them, or even if you have to cancel them and there's no way around that, what are some ways that we can help fix the credit at the same time? Perhaps it's getting some new credit on there or some other strategies. So really it's just analyzing the situation and figuring out what the next best steps will be.
So best plan of action is to, again, plan Don't make rash decisions. Don't get emotional about it, and make sure that you're protecting yourself in spite of what's going on around you, in order to ensure that you are credit worthy going forward.
Exactly. And just, with divorce, there's a lot of decisions being made about a lot of different aspects of your life. And so building the team is very important. That team might be your divorce attorney or mediator, a lender to help you plan for homeownership eligibility post-divorce, a real estate agent, all the people that are there to help you set the proper foundation so that you're set. Once the divorce is off, you still can move forward.
Okay. What's the third common mistake you see people making when they're in a divorce situation?
Well, really, and I would say this is one of the most common mistakes, and we kind of touched in it at the beginning, was when negotiating income, how to structure that income. It really is important. A lot of people really do assume that if they have alimony, that's enough, the lender can use it. That's not necessarily true. They're in structuring the income so that a lender will be able to use it, take some strategy. And it really is important to determine that up front. Do you want to take alimony or use alimony? Do you want child support? Are there other ways to negotiate assets and income that might benefit you in the long run? Now, ultimately, the divorce attorney is going to help you with that. But as it pertains to guidelines and to purchasing a property, I can help and I can be a resource.
So it's a good idea to bring you in, or somebody like yourself in on the team when you're dealing with, and you're in a divorce situation. You've got your lawyer, you've got your lender, your accountant, etc. Everybody works together as a team, and certainly you can provide sage advice about how to move forward and protect their creditworthiness and protect their ability to obtain a loan going forward.
You got it. That's exactly it.
All right. Very good. Well, Jen, thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. As always, you're a valuable resource of information relating to loans, and we look forward to speaking with you again. How can people get in touch with you?
Thank you, Jeff, for having me today. This conversation is important, and I'm glad to be a part of it. If anyone is going through a divorce, considering it, or has a friend or family member, I would love to be a resource. You can contact me at jenloans.com, or my number is 623-584-7784.
Fantastic. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate your time. If you have any questions you'd like me to address, drop them in the comments section, and I'll be sure to answer those questions in future videos. Thank you for joining us on Ask the Attorney with Jeff Hernandez. See you next time.
Sheesh. Okay, well, you save people lots of money. I think we just should avoid the divorce thing altogether. Whew.
Yeah, that would mean we'd have to get married first.
All right, maybe it's time for a drink. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay,
Let's do it.
It's time to take you on a really fun adventure for date night. And here's a clue. You don't even have to leave the valley to do it. Why have a normal cocktail when you can have one from the Prohibition era? Come on, we're taking a train ride. Platform 18 at Central Grand in Phoenix is a themed bar inspired by a vintage Pullman train car. As you step into the bar's lobby, you'll find yourself transported back into a turn-of-the-century train station. And the train seats 36 people and takes passengers on a 90-minute ride through the Rocky Mountains, complete with props to make the window scenes look like they're real. It's awesome! You can choose from a menu of 45 drinks that date back to the Prohibition era, with fun names like a pocket full of coins and even a dead man's pocket watch. That sounds delish. So grab your friends and head on over to Platform 18 for a really good time. See you next time. Toot toot! Okay, please, we have to go to that place. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, let's do it.
It's like you're leaving the valley, but you're not. You're on a train. It's very, very cool.
I'd love to see it.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Okay, your turn.
Okay. Oh, no! Okay, that does it for us. Hopefully we've helped educate you on the market, save you some money, helped you pick your new home, and given you a great date night idea.
And maybe entertained you along the way in this crazy time. Hey, if you want to stay up to date about the real estate market here in the Valley, or you want to discover great date night places to eat and drink around town, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell, because then you'll get notified every time we have new content that we've posted. All right, well, I'm Connie Cola.
And I'm Jeff Hernandez, and we'll see you for next month's Selling Scottsdale. So long for now. Bye.
What's my home worth? How long will this market last? And where do I go if I sell? These are all good questions I get all the time. Hi, I'm real estate agent Connie Cola of the Connie Cola Group in Scottsdale. Here's an interesting fact. Do you know the equity in your home may have grown more than the average American worker made last year? So what do you do with all that equity? Well, you've got questions and I've got answers. Call us today. The Connie Cola Group. We move you forward. It's what we do best.